So here we are again with another video in regards to the film simulation, which is called the Reala Ace. You know, outside of photography, I wanted to venture out and try something new, which is filming in the Reala Ace film simulation on the FujiFilm XH2s. However, here's why that's a little intimidating for me. What is up, and welcome back to another video. Now, I've touched this particular topic before on the photography side, but not just yet on the video side. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and just jump right into it. Now, the reason why I am timid by this particular process is due to the fact is that I am not a pro colorist. I am pretty much self-taught just by trial and error and watching a lot of tutorials on YouTube. And I know that I won't have as much flexibility in post to be able to color grade this particular film simulation. And it's because the film simulation will be baked into the image, just like those syrup pockets and those McGriddle sandwiches we all grew up on. And I think for me, it becomes an eternal challenge to discover how much I can do without the F-Log profiles. And I began to experiment with this film simulation at the destination that we were in one of my last videos. I can get closer. I said the magic word, foreground. That's too bright. Take down a 3.2. I wanted some sky definition here. Some shots of the area here. Kind of show you guys. I wanted another crack at testing out the Reala Ace film simulation on the photography side, because I felt as though in one of my last videos is that the lighting just wasn't as good as I expected it to be. And I felt like I could push myself to do better at displaying it and not settle on one aspect that doesn't shed light on the potential as far as what it could look like in, dare I say, the perfect environment. I like that. I like it with kind of like the leading lines too. I want to get some of this, right? We're just gonna, ooh, that's a good shot. Let me get further back. Get this shot right here. Like how I was able to kind of just get this angle, and I have the gravel with the broken pieces railroad track like shoved into it as the foreground, and then using that kind of like as that using it as a foreground, and having the actual machinery here in the midground and obviously the background stuff. But yeah, I think it's pretty dope. See how these things operate, like the gears, the functions and stuff. Like this stuff is so dope, but I feel like I have to take it off of autofocus. And I felt somewhat vindicated with some of the shots I was able to create with it. And I say somewhat because I felt as though that some of the cloud coverage still didn't give it enough lighting to where I was pleased with. So in post, what I did was I just slightly raised the exposure while still adding some details within the image in itself. Now, I will say that the shot film inspiration that really inspired me to kind of venture out into this was the movie Tenet. And I'm not sure if it was the railroad tracks that initially sparked my interest, seeing the parallel between the movie and the film simulation, but I saw a few scenes within the movie and I thought to myself that it reminded me a little bit of the Reala Ace film simulation to a certain extent. Now, obviously it's not the same based upon the location, the lighting of the time of day, the lens, the f-stops, and also to the film stock that they were using to create this film with. And at least for me and my interpretation of the scenes, it appeared that there was some type of green contrast within some of the sceneries of the shots that were taken within this film. Now, after testing the film simulation at this particular railroad track and being pleased by some of the output, and I decided that I wasn't quite satisfied with just one session with this film simulation on the FujiFilm XH2s, and decided to go out later on that week to get some more footage, but in particular wanted to focus in on getting footage of some wildlife within this film simulation. So it's not going out as planned. I thought there would be a place to park at, and really it's just a neighborhood. You know, it's a golf course, but the golf course is huge, and they have a lot of sand cranes out here. So what I've been doing is I've been getting some photos of these sand cranes, and I've been getting them from the car. I've been using the FujiFilm XH2s, has the VILTROX 75mm lens on it as well, paired with it. So this has been something it's interesting. It's an interesting experience so far, I would say. Like, I'm sitting here, like, capturing these photos. Like, I could have captured that photo, that would have been cool. Actually, I am going to capture that photo. I'm going to just turn around because there's a car behind me. Even though I wasn't able to, find a place to park, to get out the car, to really immerse myself in the experience with the wildlife, I still found the situation to be dope to be able to create photos in that way, which I don't feel like probably was the best scenario to be in, to be trying to drive and slowing down and stopping, switching between cameras and taking photos of the wildlife. Not too sure if that was, the best situation, but take what you can get. Now, I did shoot all my photos in the monochrome profile on my FujiFilm XH2s because I just missed it over the past couple weeks, be able to shoot in black and white, and I felt as though that with the vibe that I was feeling at the time frame while I was out shooting the wildlife, that it felt appropriate to just put everything in black and white images. Now, I know I mentioned earlier that I was changing between cameras and it was kind of hectic, and one of those cameras, or at least the backup camera, you guessed it, is going to be the Canon EF in this particular situation, paired with the 100mm macro lens. And I don't know, I've just been drawn to this particular type of focal length and that perspective being captured for the past couple months, and I've been truly enjoying the experience and able to capture photos interchangeably between both systems. Now, something I didn't realize during the time frame, because it was kind of chaotic, is that on my Fujifilm XH2s I did shoot pretty much all of my photos on ISO 1600. And yeah, that was a little bit of a disappointment because some of the images I was not able to crop it a little bit more to kind of like show a little bit more details within the images. So that was a bummer, but for the most part though, I still think that they came out okay. I'm gonna go try to see this one other area. That's a common area I go to see if there's any. I just want to check out two areas to see if there's any other sand cranes over there before I circle back to him. Alright, cool. So they're typically in this little park area, but I don't see any there right now, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. There's this bird over here. I'm trying to be as discreet as possible, because see that bird right there? Having two cameras here. Having technical difficulties. Okay, cool. Now here is the USR. I just missed that shot. That bird was flying in the background. Probably caught it on the Osmo here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but track is holding it. But this bird is still though, so it's not really in most accurate depiction of it, but it's holding still though. It's okay as far as autofocus is concerned. Like, it has it a little bit over there, but not a little bit. It's looking at me. Got too close. Got too greedy. I got too greedy. It's all good. And the shot of the great blue heron just, flying away at the time frame was like a mini epic Nat Geo shot for me. And I would say that the Canon EOS R, lens setup was definitely pivotal in that particular moment, because as I had my Fuji XH2s in my other hand and I wanted to switch back to it, the blue heron started to fly away, and I was like, I got to get the shot. So you know, without really hesitation, I just started shooting with the Canon EOS R, and I felt like I got some pretty dope shots of it just flying away. Wanted to get closer, wanted to get some better footage of the bird right there. Would have been dope. Man, if I had like a closer focal length, like at least the 70 to 200 millimeter, hell, even the 100 to 500 millimeter on either one of these cameras, it would have been whoo, game over. Flip, flip, flip. It was dope, but I wish I would have got some more footage of it, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, all right, cool. Let's head on back. So what's pretty cool right now is that I actually found some sand cranes to where I can go out and walk and see, and I'm gonna get on the sidewalk right here to kind of like check them out. Yeah, just happened to be driving. I was like, let me just drive up a little further away, because I was about to turn around. I was about to turn around and be like, you know what? I'm just gonna just make a U-turn, go back the other way, go home. But that didn't happen. I kept going a little bit further up and I found them. So hopefully they'll stay here for a little bit. I can get some pretty good photos with them. So let me see if I can show them to you real quick. Turn this car off. I don't know if you can see them right there, but they're right there. Cranes are right over there. Cool. See them right there. Start out with the FujiFilm XH2s. Let's definitely get it. All right. Lock it on to that middle, to that bird right there to the right. This will be interesting. It's leaving it slightly. It's drifting off. The autofocus is kind of drifting off a little bit, but then it catches back in. Even some of the cars coming into play, it's still kind of holding its tracking there. Excuse me, I gotta adjust my belt. We are rocking and rolling. I gotta get closer. The lighting has to be just right. Okay. I am in uncharted territory right here. Okay. Take that ISO down. Uncharted territory. Sand crane. It's definitely coming close to me. I'm going to walk away because I don't know. Gorgeous stuff. think for me, this was like a really dope experience to be able to be in the midst of wildlife and be able to capture them up close like I was able to. After spending an hour with these majestic creatures, I decided to go back and begin the grueling process of editing all of the footage that I captured that day. This is the moment that we all been waiting for in regards to being able to color grade the Reala Ace film simulation that was recorded on the FujiFilm XH2s. Now the first image, as you guys can see, are the cranes. Now what you can see here is that in this particular type of footage here, is overexposed obviously. But one of the things I did notice though, as we kind of like punch in just a little bit, is that there's not that much, at least I'm not seeing it, as much noise whenever recording in this film simulation. I'm not seeing a lot of noise within this particular shot in itself, so that's good. I would say that I want to bring the exposure down just a tad bit, so I created 3 nodes here: prime, gamma, and shadows and highlights essentially. So I'm gonna start out with prime, and I'm just going to slightly decrease the offset here. That's what I'm gonna start out with. Okay, if it just, okay, there we go. And I may do that with a contrast as well too, kind of take that down just a tad bit. Yeah, liking the way it's looking so far. Now I'm gonna go to the gamma here, take it down. And actually, I kind of like it already just with those, just a few tweaks that I just did. And they were very light tweaks. It wasn't anything that was heavy. I'm gonna go to the shadow and highlights. I'm just gonna see what it looks like with the shadows. Take the shadows down. I do like the way it does come off in this case. Let's look at the highlights too. Yeah, I do. I just slightly touched up the highlights, just dabbed it if anything with this particular type of grade in itself. But for the most part though, I like this. I like the grade and what it looks like. If I put full screen, I like the way the colors are in this case. I'm not going to add any type of saturations in this particular instance. I just like the very light the light color grade in this particular instance. Now we're going to move over to the next clip. So the next clip is going to be at the railroad tracks, and what I noticed with the railroad tracks is that it actually was slightly underexposed from what I can see. Now in this case we do have the prime, so I do want to take up some stuff. I don't know if I want to do this too much. I may leave the prime or the offset right here alone in this particular instance, but I just want to see what it looks like. Okay. Let's just keep it down. I may just leave it alone. Alright, I'm just gonna leave that alone. Let me go to the contrast here. Take that up just a tad bit. And actually in the last clip I could take it up a little more, but I'm not gonna worry about that. So I'll take the contrast up. Go over to the gamma. Down. See, I like the way the darker greens are looking in this particular shot. I'm not too mad about it. There's a lift here. Let's see what the lift looks like. It kind of washes it out too much. So I actually leave the lift alone. Let's go to the shadows and the highlight section, or the highlight nodes. See what that looks like. I do like a little bit of the shadows there. Just about the highlight. It's a little bit dark on the darker side. I know that I was supposed to bring it back up. Let me see something real quick. I'm actually gonna bring these highlights back in. So yeah, I'm gonna bring the highlight. I'm gonna leave the highlights the way they are as of right now. Let me see if what the lift does. See that lift? Nah, we're gonna take that lift. I may just leave it like it is because I'm liking this. I'm liking this more of an underexposed type of look. But yeah, I think this is pretty dope. Now, obviously, be kind in the comments. Like I said before, I am not a professional colorist at all. I am someone that just self-taught, learning, continually learning, still learning on this platform. And if you have any tips or tricks as far as, maybe I could, maybe apply in this particular instance, then definitely cool. I appreciate that so much. If you would like to, contribute to, I guess, my education as I get better at this. All in all, this was a very fun process to be able to record in the Reala Ace film simulation and to be able to see that there is some flexibility, definitely I have within this particular film simulation. And what I learned from using the film simulation is that it's not as hungry on the memory card usage, and then also too, the ISO. The ISO, you have more flexibility with that. You're able to just kind of like have free reign essentially with your ISO, starting from 160 going all the way up, compared to the F-Log profiles to where your base set ISO is starting at 1250. I think for me, being a hobbyist photographer and videographer and experiencing these things has helped me to be able to expand my creative outlook and really learning how to approach each situation, especially when things don't go the way you planned it initially. Well, that's all for the video. As always, continue to appreciate the process. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Deuces. And another one. Yes, sir.